Database error exposes vulnerability, then it scrambles for a fix. When your data's safety net is held together by duct tape and prayers, maybe it's time to invest in a real solution. Musicians promise escapism, then deliver nostalgia wrapped in synths. Dreamwave, where your heartache gets a retro soundtrack, and every longing is bathed in neon and reverb, promising a future that looks suspiciously like the past. Judge blocks deployment, then calls it temporary Illinois uncertain. Legal seesaw, when half measures leave everyone in limbo, and the National Guard gets a cameo role in the courtroom drama while citizens watch the real-life plot twist unfold. Retail hiring drops to lowest since 2009. Holidays look bleak. When Santa's helpers are downsized, even Rudolph might need a side hustle. The ghost of recession past casts a long shadow over holiday cheer, leaving stockings feeling a bit emptier this year. Rookie Cam Scotabo dominates Eagles defense. Giants secure upset win. When a rookie rumbles through seasoned pros, it's like watching David not just beat Goliath, but also steal his lunch money. Saquon's return overshadowed by a new giant on the block. Tennessee schools adopt AI assistants. Educators claim collaboration, not replacement. When tech promises to support educators, it often feels like a Trojan horse, rolling in with good intentions and rolling out with pink slips. Orsted slashes 2,000 jobs, claims it's necessary for survival. When a green giant trims its branches to stay afloat, it's hard not to wonder if the future of clean energy is powered by layoffs. Gaza ceasefire inked. Peace remains elusive. Celebrations echo across borders, yet under the surface, unresolved tensions simmer like a pressure cooker waiting for the next inevitable boil over. U.S. envoy praises Netanyahu. Crowd responds with boos. In a world where applause is currency, the heckles suggest Netanyahu's stock might be plummeting faster than a lead balloon in a wind tunnel. Retirement plan hinges on $80,000 savings, $2,600 monthly Social Security, but inflation lurks. Retirement is a board game with invisible rules, where landing on unexpected expenses could send her back to work faster than a boomerang in a windstorm. Texas courts inch Robert Robertson closer to execution despite shaky evidence in old case. Justice system clings to outdated narratives like a dog to a bone, ignoring the howls of doubt echoing through the courtroom halls, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Senate ayes repealing Caesar Act Syria, sanctions under defense bill, spins it as strategic shift. When defense means loosening grips on war criminals, you've got to wonder if peace is just another word for profit margins. Bezos' firm packages satellites for launch, claims efficiency. When billionaires wrap satellites like holiday gifts, it's not about the stars. It's about who gets the biggest slice of the cosmic pie first. That shadow group deploys vampire bot malware, targets job seekers. In a world where job hunting feels like a blood sport, now it's literal, as malware turns your career dreams into digital nightmares. Hackers claim theft of 2.1 million Discord ID photos. Discord disputes. When your digital face is just another pawn in the data breach chess game, age verification laws might as well be a checkmate on privacy. Draghi's report demands institutional reforms for competitiveness, governance, but nothing changes. When the same old power players write the rulebook, reform is just a fancy word for rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic of bureaucracy. Seth Rogen claims blacklisting from Emmys after 2021 script detour enraged producers. When honesty crashes the party, the gatekeepers clutch their pearls, ensuring only scripted smiles make it to the high altar of televised accolades. Solar for All cuts impact both GOP and Democrat voters, defying party lines. When the sun sets on bipartisan dreams, energy independence is sacrificed at the altar of budgetary theatrics, leaving everyone in the dark, literally and politically. Federal Reserve slashes interest rates, calls it a stability measure. When the economy is a roller coaster, the Fed's solution is to lower the track and hope gravity does the rest, ignoring the screams. Body language experts label Stephen Miller's glitch as reptilian reflex. When politics requires a human touch, a reptilian response is like bringing a fork to a soup contest, awkward and entirely useless. Light plane crashes on takeoff near Wollongong, 3 dead in tragedy. In the delicate ballet of aviation, even the tiniest misstep can lead to an unforgiving encore, leaving grief-stricken families to pick up the pieces. Mystery object discovered in deep space weighs 1,000,000 times more than the sun. Space, the final frontier for finding things we can't see, can't touch, but can definitely worry about as they bend the very fabric of reality. California probate, 23056.5 complicates care plans for dementia patients, often forcing family into emotional gridlock. When bureaucracy ties your hands and your heartstrings, you're left navigating a maze where compassion feels like contraband and every choice is a potential betrayal. SpiderCat database boasts over 10 million articles, yet misses the story of human resilience. When algorithms overlook the messy beauty of real life, we're left to wonder if our stories even exist in a world run by data points. J.J. Cale plays blues rock, then everyone forgets the rest. In a world where algorithms decide our playlists, the soulful strum of a guitar seems to echo only in the void of nostalgia. Lead prices drop despite record orders, then claim stability. In a market where logic seems as rare as a unicorn, traders pretend not to notice the mountain of metal waiting to crush their wallets. Maria Corina Machado backs Trump's Caribbean military moves, then talks peace. Supporting military actions while preaching harmony is like selling fire extinguishers to pyromaniacs. It's a lucrative business if you can dodge the irony. Houndblock JD drops fake smile at midnight, calls it revolutionary. When a track about authenticity is engineered in a studio, it's like selling organic food in plastic. The irony is wrapped in layers of production. Rokana retracts after sharing documentary clip with anti-Semitic influencer, calls it an oversight. Politicians distancing themselves from their own social media posts is like claiming you accidentally signed up for the wrong cult. The backpedal is never graceful. Hamas and Palestinian rioters clash in Gaza over executions, claiming justice. When your justice system looks like a street brawl, maybe it's time to question who's holding the gavel and who's just swinging fists. Kremlin denies Russia-US efforts to end Ukraine war are exhausted, calling it hopeful. When your diplomatic strategy resembles a hamster wheel, maybe it's time to admit you're just running in circles, not making progress. The Brutus drop doesn't matter anyway, with zero fanfare. When your existential anthem sounds like elevator music, maybe the answer to your question is already playing in the background. It doesn't. Scientists unlock plant secret, discover cancer-fighting molecule, then patent it. Nature's cure gets a price tag, because heaven forbid healing should ever be free when it can be profitable. Trump deepens shutdown with layoffs, frustrating Democrats, then blames them. Playing politics with paychecks, because nothing says leadership like turning workers into pawns in a never-ending chess game of egos. Fellow Aiden coffee maker deal surprises with a steep discount, solves nothing. Turns out, no matter how pretty your coffee machine is, it can't brew its way out of existential dread or a broken economy. Nornchukin venture hit with $1.75 billion exposure, then investors shrug. When your financial safety net is a paper-thin promise, bankruptcy becomes just another Tuesday in the world of high-stakes capitalism. Astronomers discover powerful cosmic ring, then call it progress. Space, where the universe keeps its secrets, and astronomers keep celebrating rings that won't fit on any finger. Toxic Alzheimer's protein fights cancer, then raises eyebrows. Trading one disease for another. The medical equivalent of robbing Peter to pay Paul, but with a scalpel and a petri dish. Trump runs 2028 campaign again, then democracy yawns. The political Groundhog Day continues, as if we're stuck in an endless loop of bad reruns, hoping for a plot twist that never comes. Ten countries top alcohol consumption, then governments toast. When your biggest export is liver failure, maybe it's time to rethink national pride, or just keep the party going until it all blurs. Zelensky claims Russia's gasoline supplies dropped by 20% after Ukrainian attacks. When you're running on fumes and bravado, it's hard to keep the tanks full and the propaganda machine even fuller. Israel-Hamas truce promises peace, yet questions linger over 20-point plan. In the Middle East, ceasefires are like New Year's resolutions, ambitious, optimistic, and often forgotten by February, leaving everyone wondering what the point was. Hackers target remote desktop protocol from over 100,000 IPs, then call it cybersecurity evolution. When your security strategy involves plugging a sieve with chewing gum, even the most tech illiterate can see it's not a winning plan. Trump's tariff bailout targets farmers and politically connected with subsidies, then ignores the rest. When government handouts are decided by who you know, not what you need, it's less a bailout and more a high-stakes game of favoritism. Modi's $30 billion infrastructure blitz transforms Mumbai, yet leaves slums untouched. When city spruces up the skyline but ignores the ground, it's like putting lipstick on a pig and calling it a supermodel. Rome's Colosseum opens secret tunnel to visitors, then charges a premium for mystery. Unveiling ancient paths while paving over modern struggles is like finding treasure in a time capsule, yet losing the map to the future. Parents thank Trump after Israel-Hamas deal, then realize his promises are as fragile as ceasefires. Ukraine's parliament backs creation of cyber forces in first reading, calls it the future. When digital battlegrounds replace trenches, it's like trading swords for keyboards, while ignoring the fact that both still draw blood. Senator Cory Booker warns of a very dangerous time for America, echoing a familiar refrain. It's like deja vu with a twist. Every election cycle is another episode of Dangerous Times, but the plot never seems to change. Sterk et al. Study reveals among 72% of mammals, females outlive males, citing biology and social roles. Another scientific nod to the obvious. Women live longer because they're busy picking up the pieces of evolution's gender imbalance puzzle. Kale releases debut EP, titled Kale, claims to redefine Jamtronica. When your band's name, album, and genre blend into a leafy green, you might just be a musical salad waiting to wilt. Naval conflicts escalate when boat strikes trigger explosive chaos. When your morning news feels like a Michael Bay film, it's time to question if diplomacy went the way of the dodo. Trump's latest rally promises prosperity, then slashes aid to rural bases. When loyalty is a one-way street, it's surprising how many still follow the path to nowhere, expecting a golden ticket at the end. More than 30% of Nobel laureates this century immigrated, highlighting global talent flow. When the brain drain turns into a brain gain, it's a testament to borders being more porous than the minds they try to contain. 2010 experimental EDM release bombed, then gained cult status. When your beats are ahead of their time, it's the audience that needs to catch up, not the music. Amazon fires spewed 791 million tons of CO2, equaling Germany's emissions. When your forest is on fire, it's not just trees burning, it's the future going up in smoke. House brawl over healthcare freezes government. No one budges. When politicians argue over your health, remember they're not the ones waiting in line at the clinic. Hamas releases list of detainees. Families cling to hope after 2 years. "23 Republican governors deploy National Guard for Trump's anti-immigrant agenda. Call it patriotism." When patriotism means turning troops into political pawns, it's no wonder empathy is as scarce as bipartisan cooperation. Moscow's collapsing economy sees elites dropping mysteriously, yet Kremlin claims stability. When even oligarchs can't buy safety, you know the system's as stable as a house of cards in a windstorm. Walmart deals event slashes over 21 items under $50, promises savings. When corporations dangle discounts like carrots, remember, it's just a flashy way to clear out last season's leftovers. Central bankers fear stock bubble bursting, dread grips Washington. When the financial wizards start sweating, it's usually the little folks who end up footing the bill for their magical miscalculations. Starship Troopers cast reunites, recalls brutal filming, Ironside hospitalized. Hollywood nostalgia tours always gloss over the part where actors risk their lives for what ends up as popcorn fodder on your Friday night in. London police arrest 2 teens after preschool ransomware attack, seeking ransom from toddlers. Ransomware, the latest trend in youthful rebellion, because nothing screams teenage angst like extorting juice boxes and nap time from unsuspecting preschoolers. Record labels reissue Pink Floyd's Atom Heart, Mother on vinyl, call it a psychedelic revival. Because nothing says modern musical innovation like repackaging 50-year-old albums for vinyl hipsters who think Spotify is too mainstream. Researchers fire neutrons through aluminum, claim it's for nuclear accuracy. In a world where we still can't figure out toaster settings, trusting our fission future to computer models feels like betting on a glitch. New York finalizes electric-only building rule, calls it progress. As the grid teeters on the brink of collapse, let's hope our apartments come with a backup generator and a prayer for sunny days. Four dead, 20 injured in South Carolina bar shooting, and the cycle continues. Thoughts and prayers flow like cheap whiskey, but meaningful change remains as elusive as a sober night in a dive bar. Zelensky claims Russia fears Tomahawk transfer, calls it peace's unlikely ally. In a world where missiles are messengers of peace, irony is the only thing flying faster than warheads. Modi opened second Mumbai airport, then calls it a leap forward. In a country where trains run late and flights are grounded, adding runways feels like installing more doors on a sinking ship. Johnson labels No Kings Rally, Hate America, and Pro-Hamas. When every dissenting voice gets painted as treasonous, it's easier to ignore the fact that the real enemy might be within. Poland tightens citizenship rules for foreigners, calls it a security measure. When your borders become walls, you might just trap yourself inside, missing out on the vibrant mosaic of what true security could look like. The Chemical Brothers drop Believe, and nostalgia surges in the rave scene. When beats pulse like a defibrillator, sometimes all you need is a trance to remind you that hope can be synthesized. Salesforce CEO demands National Guard patrols San Francisco, stunning his own PR team. When tech leaders propose military solutions, it's a bit like suggesting a flamethrower to light a scented candle. There's a disconnect somewhere. Video killed the radio star, and nostalgia sells it back to us at a premium. When the past becomes a product, we pay extra for memories we already own, like buying our own echoes. India reopens Kabul embassy after 4 years, citing new Taliban ties. Diplomatic déjà vu. Making friends with yesterday's enemies is like shaking hands with a fist, all in the name of political gymnastics. Government shutdown hits day 10. With no resolution, blame game intensifies. Politicians bicker while services stall. It's like watching a soap opera where the plot never changes, only the cast of inept characters. New York City sues tech giants, blames them for youth mental health crisis. Blaming social media for mental health is like suing fast food for obesity. It's easier than addressing systemic issues or acknowledging parental responsibilities. Elite soldiers join protests, turn against Madagascar's president, defying orders. When even the elite troops side with protesters, it's a sign that the emperor's new clothes are unraveling faster than a cheap suit in the rain. Arson suspect captured after LA wildfire kills 12, destroys 6,000 homes. Catching one suspect won't rebuild lives or homes, but it's a start, just like patching a sinking ship with Band-Aids. Mahoud Khalil claims U.S. Israelification, then urges awakening. Shouting "wake up" is easy when your alarm clock is set to someone else's time zone, a convenient excuse to ignore the snooze button. Judge blocks Trump's Chicago troop plan, then questions reality. When your version of reality can't even pass muster with a judge, it's time to question if the emperor's new clothes were ever real. Syrian FM visits Beirut, then claims new era. After decades of chaos and interference, a handshake and a smile can't whitewash the ruins left behind by familial power plays and historical grudges. Sani heavy gauges investor interest, then promises prosperity. When your industry is built on sandcastles of speculation, even the biggest share sale can't bulldoze the looming shadows of economic instability and market volatility. Tributes pour in for Diane Keaton, then the applause fades. In the end, even fairy dust settles, leaving us with the stark reality that no legacy, however shimmering, can outshine the inevitable shadow of mortality. For his remix, Christmas Carols, then everyone pretends it's normal. As if we needed more proof that holiday cheer is just a commercialized spectacle, now with added plush and pause for good measure. Gymnastics body condemns Indonesia's block, calls it a breach of sportsmanship. The irony of a global competition, marred by exclusion, highlights how unity in sports is just as fragile as our faith in fair play. Tennessee blast at military plant leaves several dead or missing. Chaos ensues. When your job is making things go boom, you'd hope the explosions stay on the assembly line, not in your face. Social Security's COLA fails retirees. Inflation tightens its grip. When your golden years feel more like a discount bin, maybe it's time to ask why the cost of living adjustment can't even cover living. Israeli army and settlers injure 36, including journalists in West Bank towns. When security measures leave a trail of blood and broken cameras, the narrative of protection starts to sound like a broken record of power unchecked. MIT rejects White House funding offer, calls it an ethical compromise. When academia turns down cash, you know the strings attached could strangle innovation faster than a government shutdown. Mediterranean storms vanish. Millen blames climate chaos, not coincidence. When the weather disappears like a magician's assistant, you know the real trick is humanity's vanishing act on environmental responsibility. Ray Kelly warns NYPD cops will flee if Mandani is elected, calls it a crisis. When elected officials threaten the status quo, it's astounding how quickly some folks find the exits more appealing than accountability. SAS breaches begin with tokens, then escalate to chaos. In the world of digital security, it's almost poetic how the smallest vulnerabilities can unravel entire systems while companies preach vigilance yet practice negligence. Gaza ceasefire holds as Hamas plans hostage release on Monday. A ceasefire that teeters on the edge of uncertainty, like a fragile peace treaty written on disappearing ink. It's a reminder of how temporary humanity's promises can be. Canuck declares love for Mazen farmer, gets lost in translation. When your heart beats to the rhythm of a French pop diva, yet your playlist is stuck on Canadian classic rock, love becomes a bilingual ballad of confusion. Cross-attention, G-arch neural networks predict enzyme specificity, define traditional methods. When machines understand the molecular dance better than their creators, it's a bittersweet symphony of human limitation and technological triumph, where the maestro becomes the student. Eric Spelstra will coach Team USA at FIBA World Cup and 2028 Olympics, blending NBA grit with global dreams. When your backup plan is a two-time NBA champion, it's like bringing a bazooka to a water balloon fight, overkill wrapped in star-spangled ambition. Trump obsesses over Nobel Peace Prize despite repeated snubs, clutching at accolades like straws in a desert. It's like watching a toddler demand candy from a locked cabinet, adorably misguided, yet somehow terrifying in its persistence and potential for chaos. Winter sports gear costs soar, promising innovation, yet delivering the same old thrills wrapped in shiny new packaging. It's like buying a new phone that only texts and calls, exciting at first glance, but ultimately a reminder of what hasn't changed. U.S. threatens new trade war, putting China's market gains and yuan stability at risk after fleeting optimism. Like a roller coaster ride that never ends, but someone keeps raising the ticket prices while the tracks creak ominously. SoundCloud blocks your jam session with a Kurt Cobain vibe, citing browser issues and JavaScript woes. Feels like trying to start a grunge band in a library. Quiet, frustrating, and nobody's got the right equipment to rock out. Hamas releases all living Israeli hostages, contradicting ongoing conflicts and tensions. In a world where ceasefires are as reliable as celebrity marriages, let's see how long this peace manages to stick around before it's back to business as usual. Speaker Johnson discusses mass federal layoffs, then claims economic growth. Because nothing says economic prosperity like sending hundreds of workers to the unemployment line while promising them a brighter future that never arrives. Nocturnal Wonderland ticket prices soar to $300, promise unforgettable experience. It's amazing how the cost of getting lost in space is only outdone by the price of finding your way back to reality. Cumbia posters by Monkey fetch $500 each, called cultural treasures. Nothing like slapping a price tag on nostalgia to remind us that art is only as valuable as the highest bidder's appreciation. Intel unveils new chips. Arizona factory operational, calls it a milestone. When tech giants brag about functionality, it's just a countdown to when our devices become obsolete paperweights, needing yet another upgrade. Shamans treat with psychedelics in South Africa, defying legality. When healing transcends the law, the real crime is ignoring centuries of wisdom in favor of pharmaceutical profits and legislative control. Ocean heat waves break Earth's climate engine, leaving chaos. When the ocean boils, fish fry and carbon sink, but we still act like everything's just beachy while the planet sweats bullets. Trump admin reverses CDC layoffs, then slashes budgets. Like using a Band-Aid to patch a sinking ship, they save a few jobs while gutting the resources needed to prevent the next pandemic. Eric Clapton releases Motherless Children, then blames the blues. Strumming heartbreak with millionaire fingers, he channels sorrow while living in luxury, proving that even the rich can sing of pain they can't truly know. Rapper D4V transfers 2 homes to mom's name, then denies involvement. When the heat's on, nothing says I'm innocent like a quick game of real estate hide and seek, playing house while dodging accountability. Digital arrests scam $300 million from Indians, then vanish. When law enforcement goes virtual, scammers dress up as cops, and the only thing they're arresting is your bank account, no handcuffs needed. Jonathan Toos rejoins hometown Jets, then faces the long COVID comeback. 2 seasons off, yet the real challenge isn't the ice. It's proving resilience when the body plays defense against its own captain. Soybean futures drop again as U.S.-China trade spat drags on. When tariffs become the new diplomacy, farmers find themselves pawns in a game where the prize is as elusive as a fair trade deal. Jens Stoltenberg flatters Trump, claims it saves NATO. When charm turns into strategy, alliances become theater, and the script is written by those who mistake ego stroking for diplomacy. Hostage families celebrate breakthrough. Peace deal remains elusive. When promises are made on social media, hope becomes a currency, and families are left to wonder if diplomacy is just another hashtag. Parker drops ink with electronics, saves 75% on 26 releases. When your music collection grows faster than your existential dread, maybe the real dystopia is in your overflowing digital library. China plays its hand, and Trump praises bond market apathy. When your economic strategy hinges on the hope that markets won't panic, it's like betting on a storm to stay dry. MIT president rejects Trump funding priorities as benefits proposal. When a tech powerhouse says no to political puppetry, it's a reminder that some institutions still think with their brains instead of their wallets. Twitch CEO and Pokimane target new audiences, hope for engagement. In the land of endless scrolls and fleeting attention, finding an audience is like herding cats with AD armed with remote controls. Spanish Town embraces immigrants, calls it humanity despite resistance. When compassion becomes a headline, empathy on life support and kindness is a radical act in a world allergic to change. Trump administration acts as CDC staff, half reinstated as if nothing happened. Revolving doors at public health agencies, where job security is a myth and the only constant is political whiplash masquerading as governance. Boogard's latest album, Where We Flew, drops, redefining electroscrams with a nostalgic glitch. The album's chaotic soundscape echoes like a digital tantrum trapped in a time loop, proving once again that noise is the new harmony.
Justice Department targets Letitia James, then flames impartiality. The justice system's scales tip precariously when political vendettas masquerade as legal proceedings, turning courtrooms into stages for partisan theater.
Freed hostages embrace families, then face uncertain futures. Humanitarian triumphs are bittersweet when political gamesmanship turns liberation into a fleeting respite, leaving the underlying conflict unresolved and ready to rekindle.
Private investing promises democratization while the velvet remains firmly in place, ensuring only the wealthiest can play in this financial sandbox.
After 5 decades of belting out hits, the legendary voice decides it's time to hang up the mic, but not before one last encore to cash in on nostalgia.
Chinese developers outpace US rivals, then claim leadership. With more open AI models hitting the market, China flexes tech muscles, while the US grapples with its own digital Cold War of innovation insecurity.
The former president's word salad leaves heads spinning faster than a merry-go-round, as reality remains an elusive concept in his rhetoric.
Artists demand Gaza ceasefire, then risk careers and contracts. From letters to pins, concerts to boycotts, their voices rise above the din, challenging the status quo as empathy becomes an act of rebellion.
Taylor Swift promotes new album with AI slop, then fans feel heartbreak. In a world obsessed with authenticity, even pop royalty can't escape the digital clutches, leaving fans to question if their idol has joined the algorithmic assembly line.
In the age of conspiracy and paranoia, even a cancelled flight becomes suspect, turning travel plans into a saga.
Forget sitcom quips, dive into the surreal where the absurd becomes routine and irony is your daily bread, served cold with a side of existential dread.
Strumming over backing tracks is like shouting in a windstorm. The notes may be sweet, but the digital whirlwind drowns them in a cacophony of keyboard warriors.
America Ferrera hails immigrant story, then highlights horror and terror. In a world where real women have curves, but immigration policies have edges sharp enough to cut dreams, Ferrera's voice is both a celebration and a siren call.
Trump threatens massive tariffs, then copper prices nosedive. When tariffs become the new currency, metal markets tremble like leaves in a storm, proving once again that economic stability is as solid as a politician's promise.
Merger creates $16 billion giant claims global dominance. When two titans merge, the world gets another corporate behemoth promising prosperity, but usually delivering nothing more than executive bonuses and a few new yacht orders.
Vance claims Israeli hostages may be released any moment. Hope is a dangerous drug when politicians dangle it like a carrot, knowing full well that the stick is always just out of reach.
Trump vows to impose a 100% tariff on China.
Nobel winners hail from wealth, call it meritocracy. When the golden spoon's your first tool, even the Nobel Committee can't tell if it's genius or just well-funded ambition.
Four more lost prophets. Singer Ian Watkins dies in prison attack, past crimes overshadowed. Sometimes, the universe has a dark sense of justice, wrapping up horrific tales with endings that feel more like a grim punctuation than a redemption arc.
Pam Bondi embraces SNL gun-toting spoof, sends love to Amy Poehler. Nothing says political savvy like hugging a satire that turns you into a caricature while pretending it's all in good fun.
Trump meets released Israeli hostages, calls it a step toward peace. Nothing like a photo op with freed hostages to spin a narrative of diplomacy, while ignoring the complexities of a fragile ceasefire.
A temporary truce offers a flicker of relief, but the cycle of conflict remains a stubborn shadow, lurking just out of sight.
Manuel Neuer resumes training, thumb injury still a concern before Liverpool match. Even the indomitable Neuer isn't immune to the fragility of flesh, reminding us that even legends can be brought down by a single digit.
Macron blames rivals for France's political chaos while ignoring his own role. The French president's finger-pointing tour de force is a masterclass in deflection, proving that in politics, the mirror is always someone else's problem.
California conservative superstar files for bankruptcy, then keeps the mansion. When your financial management is as suspect as your political promises, perhaps it's time to reconsider what superstar really means in the land of Hollywood illusions.
Putin unveils surveillance tech, calls it security. When your citizens are your biggest threat, maybe the enemy isn't outside your borders, but sitting at your own dinner table.
It's hard to win games when your team's more ghost than gridiron, but hey, maybe they were just practicing their disappearing act.
The irony of a perfect match, derailed by a ticking time bomb in the pants.
Greystar and others settle rental lawsuit, pay $142 million, call it resolution. When corporate giants toss pocket change to dodge accountability, it's like tipping the waiter for spilling your drink and calling it a service.
Smoothware drops how to fly, promises elevation stays grounded.
When hip-hop tracks claim to teach flight, it's worth noting that while beats can soar, lyrics often remain firmly tethered to reality.
When two countries bond over mutual sanctions, you can't help but wonder if their economic tango is more about survival or spite.
Mice study blocks protein, reduces harmful tau in Alzheimer's models. When rodents start showing us the way to combat neurodegeneration, it's both a scientific breakthrough and a sobering reminder that our brains might be a few steps behind.
National Guard patrols Memphis streets with local police raising eyebrows. When the military joins your morning commute, it's less about traffic control and more about the slow erosion of civil liberties and trust.
Shock apologizes after fan assaults man in Dublin. Video goes viral. When your fan club's highlight reel includes a mugshot, it's time to reconsider the definition of team spirit and maybe invest in some anger management classes.
'49ers lose Fred Warner to serious leg injury, air cast and calf required. When your injury list is longer than your playbook, maybe it's time to draft some luck instead of linebackers.
Radamonte Steeler evolves and now uses device fingerprinting and steganography in PNGs. When malware starts getting more creative than your marketing team, maybe it's time to question who the real innovators are.
Doja Cat tops charts with new album, First Time calls it exciting. Nothing like hitting #1 to remind us that catchy beats can distract from the existential dread of modern life.
Pentagon tightens credential access, press corps calls it intimidation. When the military plays gatekeeper, transparency takes a backseat to control, leaving truth out in the cold with nothing but a flimsy press pass for warmth.
Raul Jimenez scores 3 goals for Wolves, wins Europal of the Week. A hat-trick hero abroad, Jimenez reminds us that talent knows no borders, even if the awards do, highlighting the irony of national pride in a global game.
When a costumed amphibian becomes a symbol of resistance, you know the narrative's gone off the rails.
Another summit, another round of empty promises as the planet keeps warming. It's a never-ending cycle of hot air and cold shoulders in the face of a global crisis.
Republicans panic, shutdown looms, blame game begins. Government shutdowns are like bad sequels, predictable, unnecessary, and everyone knows who the villains are, yet somehow they keep getting made.
U.S. millionaires increased since 2017, almost 1 in 5 households. The American dream now requires a 7-figure bank account, a small price to pay for the privilege of watching the wealth gap widen from your penthouse view.
GPS falters in cities, then tech wizards promise precision. Tall buildings and narrow streets turn navigation into a guessing game, but now engineers claim a fix with satellite magic and a sprinkle of hope.
The art of the deal seems to involve more tantrums than treaties, as if diplomacy were a reality show with ratings instead of consequences.
Israel pulls troops back, families head north.
London mayor denies phrase anti-Semitic, controversy ignites. Politicians love playing semantic dodgeball, where the goal is to avoid responsibility by redefining words faster than the public can keep up.
Turns out, inheritance isn't just about the DNA you get, but also the
Finally, a way to make subatomic particles more hipster. Just add lasers and call it groundbreaking, because who doesn't love a little light show with their science?
After Trump-era shutdown, special education staff decimated, then chaos ensues. The Department of Education's mass layoffs leave vulnerable children in the lurch, while bureaucrats play musical chairs, oblivious to the real-world consequences spinning out of control.
Olympic glory takes a nosedive as athletes turn podiums into party zones, leaving us to wonder if the real competition is in who can out-scandalize the rest.
Ancient rock art reveals lost civilization, then vanishes into obscurity. 12,000 years of history etched in stone, yet we still struggle to preserve last year's tweets. Priorities, it seems, have always been a bit rocky.
Author claims seeing Epstein's photos of Trump with topless girls, then the truth goes dark. Scandalous images surface, but justice remains buried. In the world of power and privilege, some pictures truly are worth 1,000 denials.
Indie rock band Dust releases 2 dogs, then nobody hears it.
Treasury wine scraps 2026 guidance and pauses buyback, citing uncertainty.
Storm Alice floods Catalonia, Valencia, and Ibiza, ignores travel plans.
Heavyset Stoner album drops October 10th. Promises soaring highs.
Former President Biden receives radiation for prostate cancer after hormone therapy fails.
Francis far-right reckoning stalls, but the shadow lingers like a stubborn ghost.
Don Toliver releases tiramisu track, sweetens playlist without adding any new flavor.
Partisans disrupt Russian supply lines, causing chaos for Moscow's front in Ukraine.
Public health posters urged condom use during the AIDS crisis, but stigma and silence persisted.
Kamikaze Junebug drops Public Enemy #1 Jashop track, promises revolution but serves nostalgia.
Mega Republicans threaten nuclear option to end shutdown, claim it's the only way forward.
Plastic goods dominate the world, creating a throwaway culture. A book reveals deliberate business strategy.
Germany offered to train Russian army before Crimea annexation, then called it diplomacy.
Plane crashes into Massachusetts highway, killing 2, then traffic continues.
Mexico floods leave 64 dead and 65 missing, then authorities offer thoughts.
Government shutdown stalls Solana ETF approvals and crypto bulls face uncertainty.
Taylor Swift smashes another record with Life of a Showgirl and Fans Can't Keep Up.
Steelers dismantle Browns 23-9 and claim victory without breaking a sweat. Laurie Anderson's Oh Superman resurfaces, defying time as art pop's enigmatic anthem.
Neil Young pulls his music from Amazon, then suggests buying local.
Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation donates $50 million to Atlanta's historically black colleges.
Nor'aster brings heavy rains, dangerous East Coast flood threat, then politicians ignore climate change.
Portugal edges Ireland 1-0, then fans question the spectacle.
OpenAI partners with Broadcom for AI chips, then adds NVIDIA and AMD to the mix.
Mountain glaciers will warm with the air, losing their cooling buffer and melting faster after mid-century.
Wall Street rocked by auto sector bankruptcies, with First Brands Group and Tricolor Holdings LLC causing panic.
Trump praises Xi Jinping, calls him highly respected after threatening double tariffs on Chinese goods.
DJ Seinfeld drops The Right featuring Confidence Man, promising a dance revolution, but delivers the same old beats.
Kremlin boosts Japanese language content, calling it outreach while weaving propaganda into the mix.
Malaysia promises cash handouts, then raises living costs, claiming relief.
UK High Court orders PPE MedPro to pay $122 million. Recovery looks improbable.
Interstellar Comet 3, it Atlas dazzles Mars, ESA crafts capture the cosmic spectacle.
John boosts military spending, neighbors question intentions, citizens question sanity.
Digital Boy sells rebellion, price tag reads conformity, punk meets paradox.
Trump threatens tariffs, emerging market currencies nosedive, worst day since November.
Trump's tariff threats jolt traders, rare earths prices soar as markets tumble.
Mike Johnson dodges shutdown layoffs question, responds with "I don't know" and shrugs off responsibility.
Gordon Ramsay faces accusations of grooming a teenage boy, raising eyebrows and questions.
Oscar-winning actress Diane Keaton dies at 79, leaving the world a little less quirky.
Pakistan and Afghanistan clash at the border. Both sides claim victories and losses. Chaos reigns. Yuzo Aduba glides onto Prospect Park ice during Monster Skate. Witches and bumblebees spin to TV tunes.
Pop artist Smoothify drops How You Really Feel, a track about vulnerability that costs nothing but your emotional stability.
Starfleet Academy trailer debuts at NYCC, promises fresh cadets after a century-long hiatus.
Trump's deal-making diplomacy crumbles as China retaliates, exposing fragility.
California bans Glock pistols under Newsom's new law, but gun culture remains.
Hostage Avinatan Or reunites with family. Peace deal still a fragile hope.
UK. To host 3 Bollywood films starting 2026, PM claims cultural win.
Berliner Dom restoration costs millions while citizens face housing crisis.
AI marketing tools promise revolution but deliver more data chaos.
Education Department fires special education staff, then claims focus on inclusion.
Polish Tatra National Park hands out free poop bags claiming eco-hero status.
Scientists create paper-thin light glowing like the sun, revolutionizing displays.
Drake loses lawsuit over Kendrick Lamar track, caught unmoved by drama.
Trump's DOJ drops cases for political clout. Justice takes a backseat.
JP Morgan blames levered ETFs for Friday's sell-off, calls it chaotic.
Ex-NBA star Pierce nabbed for DUI. Another fall from grace.
Cambridge University launches project at zero cost to rescue data trapped on old floppy disks.
Trump threatens 200% tariffs while doubling down on India-Pak truce claim.
Man fined for burning corn in London wins appeal against conviction.
Greek growth touted as an example to Europe, despite ongoing economic struggles.
Trump allegedly pushed Israel and Hamas to agreement, then chaos reigned.
ChatGPT-5 claims to prove advanced math then dodges specifics.
Government shutdown hits day 9, and military families flood food pantries, a 34% spike.
No King's Movement warns before anti-Trump protests preparing to challenge the throne of apathy.
Smoothify drops new track pieces, and it's another jigsaw of beats and bars that never quite fit.
Chicago journalist shoved, arrested during ICE raid, then released without charges.
Trump sought a trade deal, but Xi launched another conflict instead.
Obama claims it's corrupting for a president to use military against citizens.
U.S. government shutdown hits day 13, and deeper cuts loom over federal workers.
More than 20,000 babies born to foreign parents in January stirs migration debate.
Critics attack Katie Porter over recent videos, and the backlash is as sharp as it is predictable.
Celebrities pen poetic announcements, riding Kobe's coattails, and the sincerity feels as manufactured as a pop star's autotune.
Jeep software update bricks hybrids over the weekend, leaving drivers stranded.
Israeli tanks reportedly pull back from Gaza front line as ceasefire plan begins.
Ecuador reinvents cumbia with Andean twist, blending indigenous rhythms.
Bill Bryson declares Britain bad but America worse, and the irony is palpable.
Atlantic trivia updates at 4:25 p.m. at Then Reality remains unchanged.
Levi's campaigns drive sales higher, yet earnings fall short of dreams.
Russia, suspected of hacking Jaguar Land Rover, then denies involvement.
Photos of the week feature horn cupping, target practice, and a pumpkin forest, but omit climate chaos.
Tony Danza, T-Dance, Extravaganza releases Paul Bunyan and the Blue Ox, but no one knows why.
Diane Keaton records her first solo single, and her friend calls it almost childlike.
Steve Martin recalls Diane Keaton leading their 1964 college play. He was just a stagehand.
Wall Street stuffs ETFs with single stock autocallables, calling it the new yield chase.
Denmark boosts Arctic defense with $4 billion spend, buys 16 new F-35s.
Senegal raises $795 million in oversubscribed regional bond sale amid funding challenges.
Happy Gilmore producer buys spyware maker NSO Group, then claims it's about security.
Cameroon election sees Paul Biya poised to win, then democracy takes a backseat.
Boring Company racks up nearly 800 environmental violations, then claims it's innovating.
Trump slaps 100% tariff on China imports, then tightens software export controls. Zelensky promises Tomahawks only hit military targets, ignores Kremlin's alarm.
Trump 79 complains speeches delayed his, ignores irony.
RFK Jr. drops 3 words and sends tremors through the medical community.
Weekly report tallies activities, labels them significant, and ignores the chaos.
South Korean president promises safety, but kidnappings in Cambodia spike, leaving citizens vulnerable.
ADHD study links hyperactivity to creativity, claims wandering minds are secret sauce.
Families return to Gaza City minutes post-ceasefire, hope clashing with rubble.
Red Cross initiates operation to receive first Israeli hostages in Gaza. Tension thick as concrete walls.
UK drill truck plugged in drops with Marga's decks. NRYA beats hit like a sledgehammer.
Trump boosts Nobel rivals' chances.
Cornell study claims emissions peak by early 2030 can curb sea level rise without drastic measures.
Neuroscientists devise method to analyze elusive gamma events in brain, claiming new insights into sensory processing.
Trump administration labels boat strikes as drug busts, but whispers suggest ulterior motives.
Lumen Technologies boasts recovery plan, yet stock prices remain stagnant.
Study links pesticides to mass die-off of Western monarchs, yet regulators shrug.
Australian pension bosses meet UK funds, lawmakers in summit to encourage investment.
Trump administration labels court rulings, protests, Democrats as insurrection.
Email marketing promises seamless journeys, but delivers endless spam.
Trump appoints Halligan. Critics call it a vendetta, and they're not wrong.
Bautista's legendary home run echoes a decade later, nostalgia sells.
Media giants dismissed late-night TV, then Kimmel shattered expectations.
Sisla's remix drops beats like taxes drop Jaws, but costs $0.
John Gans recalls John Bannock that Grid America now echoes in China concerns.
Trump administration justifies extrajudicial killings, claiming national security. Reality screams otherwise.
Music industry introduces 5-track techno EP claiming genre, blending innovation.
Electric vehicles reach 31% market share in Germany. Lemoto B10 SUV debuts with fanfare.
MTV channels shutting down after 4 decades. TV giant says goodbye with nostalgic tears.
AI embedded in CIT LCD pipeline promises to cut noise, reduce risk, then adds complexity.
Pre-save campaign launches at 3 a.m. in ATL, fixes nothing about insomnia.
Trump brokers Israel-Hamas deal, then calls himself a peacemaker, ignoring past chaos.
Stock market closes for Columbus Day, but mail delivery persists, because why not confuse everyone?
Supreme Court ruling aids Republicans, potentially adding 19 safe seats in the House. Democracy takes another hit.
'90s pop rock nostalgia hits hard. Natalie, Imbruglia's Torn spins its tale of existential crisis and catchy hooks.
Israeli army and settlers injure 36, then call it defense.
Diane Keaton immortalized in pictures, yet time remains undefeated.
Zimbabwean MP collides with elephant, then exits life stage.
Wayne Rooney claims Premier League quality, then settles for MLS.
ICE agents gain protected status, then criticism becomes hate speech.
Rashica scores early, then Werder Bremen stuns Dortmund.
Penguin numbers plummet. Namibia declares critical endangerment.
UK elders skip eye exams, millions left in sensory limbo.
SpaceX blasts Starship on 11th test flight, ending elementary era.
Jets intercept Broncos' first drive in London. Fans call it a miracle.
France teeters on economic collapse. Pundits predict chaos in 2 years.
Lo-Fi Horizons releases Still Waters, sinks into the background noise.
Khan's wife Tomeka Thiam files for divorce, leaving after 29 years of harmony.
Explosive factory blast erases 16 lives in Bucksnort, Tennessee, leaving a town to mourn.
Maria Corina Machado wins Nobel Peace Prize, igniting fury from Trump's team.
AI becomes top data exfiltration channel. Research reveals enterprise vulnerability.
Nobel Prize winner Machado declares Venezuela chaotic under current regime, igniting controversy.
Speaker Johnson shifts blame for government shutdown, demands Senate Democrats turn lights back on.
Russian naval maneuvers in UK waters intend to instill fear, expert claims.
Einstein's letters to De Sitter rediscovered in 1975. Lost insights emerge.
Israel attempts mending ties with Americans, uncertain if the bridge holds.
Man City's Bernardo Silva kicks ancient football, but modern fame still rules.
Drug company owner arrested after 21 children die in India. Justice lags.
Trump threatens more tariffs on China. Soybean slump further.
Corporate giants shift focus, lay off thousands, call it efficiency.
Specialized launches. Level 4 at $15,000. Fixes nothing.
Stellantis revamps operations, then French workers fear for their jobs.